Growing with fishes. Growing with fishes.
I'm pretty sure I shared the wrong screen for the intro, so that's super comical. We always find a new way to botch the intro, but I think that's the first time we've done it that way, so that's always good.
Awesome. Always good to try new things.
It's been one of those days, guys. Thanks everybody. The Growing with Fishes podcast 284. Today we have Travis from AZGreenDesert. Thanks a lot for joining us, Travis.
Thanks for having me.
I actually got a chance to meet him at the Regenerative Conference. In fact, let me put that up on the screen here. If you guys are not aware and you happen to live in the Northeast of the United States this weekend, please come out and hang out. We will be up in Maine. You can find this at regenerativeorganiccannabis.com. We'll be up there Friday, Saturday, Sunday, up in Dresden, and we're going to be having a great time. Myself, Kevin Jodry, Susan Waywright Evans, Chris Trump, Michael Box, and a whole bunch of breeders, Izzy Becker, Rebel Dan Pomerian. I heard a rumor the great Mr. Green may or may not be there. I've been working on that, so if you want to come out and hang out with him, pretty sure he's a good chance that you might see him there. Wink, wink. As well as a whole bunch of local breeders. We got Woodstock Farmic, Skunkfoot Farms. I heard Smash Cannabis is going to be up there. Charlie's Farms, Weaving Genetics, Eric Branstead, Joshua Steensland, Chris Trump, Dr. Lane Ingham. So it's going to be a really good time. And huge seed swap on Sunday. If you're going to come up for one day, come up on Sunday, get a whole bunch of beans. Up in Dresden, Maine. Again, regenerativeorganiccannabis.com. And you guys can come up and have a good time. I've actually met these two wonderful people originally at the Regenerative Conference, and I've gotten to know them over the years, and now we have him on the show, so I'm super excited to have him on. In fact, I was just telling them before we went live, he actually has the only version of Freak Show that I've actually been pleasantly surprised about, and actually had a good flavor, body, and a good high, whereas most of the versions of Freak Show I've had to date have been very bland. So thanks a lot for joining us tonight.
Yeah, thanks for having us. Super excited to be on the show.
Thank you very much.
Tell us a little about yourself and about your farm.
For sure. I'm Travis. I'm from Arizona originally. I started doing permaculture in like 2015 and started learning about building soils and started our own little permaculture garden. Learned about like growing bananas and just building soil and all that stuff. And then my buddy David, her nephew got me out to the farm. They like, hey, you love plants and you'll probably love it out here. Just come check it out. And then been up here ever since. So got up here in 2017 and they hired me on and just love working on the farm and building soil. And
Part of the family now. We're all one big happy family.
And tell us about yourself, Erin. Tell us about yourself and what you've been doing.
Hey, yeah, my name is Erin, and I'm owner of Hidden Prairie Farms, and we're family owned and operated. And we'll see, we've been here. My husband's born and raised, and I've been here for 23 years. Yeah, been growing ever since we got up here, and yeah, just enjoy our lifestyle a lot.
So tell us a little about some of the different cultivars that you guys work on. In fact, that's one of the things I think I've been most impressed by, especially trying both of your wares over the years now, going out to the regenerative cannabis. Both of you guys grow very different and unique cultivars, and everything that I've tried from you guys is just amazing. Tell us a little about some of the different cultivars that you're cultivating out there.
well, like some of the strains we brought to the regenerative cannabis seed swap, like we were showing you, was like some of the glaciers, which is white Tahoe cookies to jet fuel gelato. And that was a super stony, pretty potent, just it had really good smell and flavor. And one of the other ones was the Wakanda, which is one of the surprisingly fruity but stony, like one of the stonier fruity strains that I've seen. Normally the fruity ones don't really pack a punch, but that one seemed to be really stony. But this year we're going like a lot of the runts. We got a lot of white runts going. Some of the gelato 33s and
There's an ice cream.
Yeah,
Gelato mix.
yeah, gelato ice cream mix and regular ice cream cake and just going through the gambit.
You found a runts cultivar that does well outdoors? Because everything I've seen outdoors just molds the shit out of here.
Say again?
All the runts cultivars in Oklahoma really hate the climate. Have you found ones that work well for you out there? For outdoor?
Yeah, ours seems to do really well out here. It's a really super stony strain, but it's got a really good terp profile too.
So tell me a little bit about that freak show that you gave me, because I'll be honest with you, he hands down has the best freak show cultivar that I've had out of quite a few different ones that I've tasted to date.
The freak show was one of my favorite plants. That was just one of they let me play around with their personal garden plants, so I get to put all the weirdos, non-commercially viable, and just the ones I just like to play with for fun. And yeah, the freak show was a super cool plant. Just a little slower to veg, but other than that, it's just a cool plant to have around. We had it mixed in like with the marigolds and hidden in the corn. And then even like the experienced neighbor growers were like, what is that? I'm not sure what that is. We're like, no, that's weed. But yeah, no, it had like super awesome pineapple terps, and yeah, got it from the Humboldt Seed Company, and just super all around killer strain. And
Yeah, we honestly couldn't tell the difference between the freak show and our marigolds. So it was pretty cool to see the similarities there.
Oh yeah, no, your freak show is incredibly terpy compared to pretty much everything else I've smelled to date. It's definitely one of the things. I have your freak show and then some Australian bastard cannabis. Super looking forward to putting both of those in my garden this year. So on that note, what are you guys looking forward to growing this year in your garden?
Yeah, like we have a lot of the white runs, like we were saying. A lot of clones. We're going to start popping seeds here in the next month or so. But yeah, it's going to be a lot of Humboldt Seed Company gear. And yeah, a lot of the elite clones, white runs, the gelato 33s, ice creams, biscottis. Let's see,
we got some gushers, I think, and there's more. Yes.
Oh, the candy cane is another one we're super excited about. We got that from Hendrix, and it's supposed to be very purple and super tasty. So that's one of the newer strains we're trying out. We're super excited to check it out.
So I know you're both very regeneratively or minded. Tell us about some of your different cultivation practices and some of the ways that you differ from some of the other farms that are out there.
For sure. Well, I really started getting into Chris Trump through her. She was went up and took a couple of the 5-day intensive classes. So yeah, it was super awesome to have her grow up and learn all that knowledge and bring it back to us. And just we love all Chris's videos and yeah.
Yeah, and we make our own compost and do our teas and
just trying to figure out how to scale it all up, trying to get the large scale IMOs and just keep working on our collections and going out and finding new spots to collect and yeah.
Our FAAs and companion planning kinds of
yeah. Do a lot of cover crop building. We're experimenting with no-tills and got one no-till bed to where they just let me free reign where all the homemade compost that I get and just really try to build it up and try to see what it can do. And it's
doing amazing.
It's been getting better every year. So it's super, super promising to see that to try to start to scale that up.
What are some of the challenges that you found starting to scale up some of these different things? Have you had any kind of issues in that regard, or is there anything?
Need more compost. There's never enough compost. That's one of the bigger ones, at least. But yeah, just trying to scale up fertility and just try to put out the best quality we can and try to be the most regenerative mindset as we can. But it's always a process and just trying to work with closing those loops and lowering our inputs and just doing the best we can.
What advice do you have for people that maybe just starting to get into the regenerative kind of mindset, maybe trying to convert over or trying to get into the type of practices that you guys are working with on a daily basis?
Lots of side-by-sides, testing little bits here and there.
Right.
Don't go all out.
Yeah, start small. Don't do everything no-till. Just start with a greenhouse first. See if you can create enough compost to do that before you go all out and go too crazy. But
Yeah. Compost.
yeah, I've researched a lot of videos though. Like YouTube has been a big friend. Just all the free and easy information out there. There's so much good info out there. Like Jeff Lawton and all the no-till like gurus, Joel Salatin, and all these regenerative awesome people, Dr. Elaine Ingham, Chris Trump, and all these awesome people have really good knowledge out there. And you're always putting out awesome, amazing regenerative content. And
Definitely.
oh yeah.
So maybe that's a better question. What are some of your biggest go-tos? You mentioned quite a few there. Is there any others that you're using on a regular basis? Or maybe you learn from significantly that you think you're applying more to your farm than others?
We want to start applying more hugels. We've done it on small scale, like not for the cannabis crops, but we've just played around with it like in the gardens, and how fast that's turning the soil into fungally dominated microbial rich soil. It's been very impressive, like over a short period. Just we started one in 2019 and it's already just mycelium mats, and just it's building up surprisingly fast.
Do you have any breeding programs that you're working with at the moment that maybe different lines or different goals that you're trying to achieve in different breeding programs at the moment?
Nothing commercially, but just playing around, just having some fun. It's cool to pop the seeds we get from the regenerative conferences, and I never have enough space, but it's cool. It's like, oh, what am I going to pop? What's this, like? I got gene stuff. I got everyone's good beans. So it's always a fight to see what's going to be the cream of the crop. But yeah, we have a couple things that really stand out that we like. We like the blueberry muffin, but we don't grow that all the time. But it's definitely one of the ones that are up there. But yeah, we're gonna try to pop some new strains this year. Maybe some strawberry cheesecake, maybe some Humboldt Seed Company stuff, the garlic butter, and
Squirt.
the squirt. Yeah, the squirt is one of my favorites. It's the grapefruit terps on that. It was probably one of the tastiest strains I've seen in a while. So trying to get that citrus profiles locked down and try to hit stuff with different genetics that are in similar realms. We had some equilibrium genetics, some granddaddy oranges that were so citrusy that I feel like would pair really well with some squirts, but that's just all personal stuff I like to play with. Nothing crazy.
It's funny how finicky the citrus stuff can be. I know in Oklahoma, we just kind of struggle to grow citrus stuff because it's so hot here. It seems like the citrus terps really hate the heat.
For sure,
you have to have like an 85-degree max temperature range in order to keep those citrus terps around.
Yeah, it seems like the fruity terps definitely seem to be a little more volatile. Like even if the blueberry, if you get it a little too hot and for a little too long, it can burn away that blueberry flavor.
Absolutely, those plants will do well out here, but they don't have that same blueberry taste that I used to have I used to live up in Philadelphia, and I remember every November we used to get that dankest dank blueberry that I don't know who was growing it locally, but I knew it was fire. And we used to get it every single November from the same people, and who happened to know the guy who was growing it through a guy or whatever. But it was just does not have that same profile that it used to have. And I'm totally with you. I think it's, at least 3/4 environmental and probably very similar genetics, because back in the day, there was only so many people doing, a lot of breeding enough to stabilize stuff to any kind of degree.
Right. Absolutely.
People kind of forget that stuff nowadays, and how few people actually were working lines the way that we almost take for granted now.
Absolutely. Now everyone has a polyhybrid. Just it's a cluster fudge.
Yeah, I mean, polyhybrids to me are just, oh cool, another plant that's like weak to everything.
Right.
Right?
Another trait you can't lock down.
Something else that's unstable is fucking, you know, you look at it wrong and it decides to pout, you know.
Oh, absolutely.
Like most of the cookie strains. I'll just say that. What are some of the other lines over the years that you found that are really good for breeding stock? Maybe that's a good question.
I haven't really done a whole lot of breeding, but it's just something I love to play around with. We have a lot of stuff that we just kind of throw around in a little extra greenhouse that we have, and just kind of open pollinate and just kind of let it go a little crazy. But yeah, there's been some ones that stand out, like I was saying, the citrus from Equilibrium Genetics. It was a Granddaddy Orange. That there's still some volunteers that pop up to where it's just like, nope, that's definitely from that. And it smells like mandarin oranges. It smells super sweet and just, oh my gosh. And it was crossed with everything in the room. There must have been like 12 males in there, but I was like, nope, that's the same plant.
About you, Aaron? Do you have any thoughts on that? I know you've been on it a few more years than him.
Yes, we've done some Granddaddy Purple and some Diesel and Red Crush, which we call Prom. And it was also crossed with the blueberry, and that was really amazing. We took that to Emerald Cup back in the day when we could actually still do events, and we got a lot of rave about it. And we still have a few of those seeds that we also have a lemon one that came out of that batch too.
Yeah, the Prague Blueberry Muffin was a really cool strain. One of the neighbors actually grew some of the. It was our cross, but the neighbor grew it out, and so it was cool to see how it came out. It seemed like the blueberry really came through. It was really chunky and solid and dense, and yeah, we pass those seeds out at the regenerative conference almost every year, and it's been cool to see how it came out. But definitely need to play with it some more. But we're always fighting space and which beans to pop. It's always hard to choose.
Definitely.
What do you look for as far as the different traits for a male and female plant for your breeding stock?
Well, it's always nice to try to find the most vigorous plant, and basically the best structure. Terpenes is really the most important in my opinion. Just finding the ones with the right smells and structures, and just trying to find ones that meld together, and just trying to see what they do together. I have a bunch of crosses that I want to play with. I have like a freak show across everything. I have a Mandarin Sunshine across the freak show. The Mandarin Sunshine was like a super serrated leaf plant already, so I thought maybe hitting it with some freakiness might increase the weirdness on it. And yeah. Got too many things to play with.
Now there's so much stuff to work with these days. I know I have the same problem going to all the conferences and end up with 50 strains.
You have to like prioritize them, and then you put them back, and then you change your mind, then you rethink it, and then
right. That's the nice thing about being a consultant. I can put some here and some here and some here, and I get the COAs at the end of the day, you know.
Yeah.
Definitely. So what advice do you guys have for people that are trying to get started on the regenerative minded thing? You know, you guys have worked on converting more towards that mindset. What are some of the things that you can kind of say that, oh man, this was really something I had to kind of spend a lot of time with versus something I didn't have to spend so much time with in terms of applying it to an actual working farm?
I feel like the KNF stuff was some of the most crucial stuff that we've done. Like the FAAs was a lot of bang for your buck. It takes a little bit of time to make and to do, but once you get it, it's relatively shelf stable. It lasts a good time. It doesn't take a whole lot of it, 1 to 500. And then the IMOs. The IMOs are the game changer. Yeah. Just seeing what they do to the weak plants, and then just brewing the tea, and then just the tea, just top dressing with the tea bag material. What it'll do to a sickly plant, or just even a right plant, it'll just make it like, man, that was the favorite plant in the garden. That was the most tastiest, terpiest one. That's the head stash right there. And that one was the first to go. But yeah, just working on getting those collections out. It's a little bit of a learning curve, trying to get the rice right, trying to get it to where the microbes right. Like, oh, is it too al dente? Is it not dente enough? Is this a good spot? Did I leave it too long, not long enough? It's just trying to get that all dialed in and just try to keep going at it. We don't do as much collections as we like, but we're working on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know it's definitely something that once you actually work with KNF though, you kind of realize why Chris emphasizes IMO above all things, because it really does kind of heal your soil on its own. It kind of gives your soil the ability to heal itself more than anything else, and fix any imbalances on its own without you having to screw with it on any kind of other level. And I think that that's kind of the coolest thing. I know Chris often talks about his work with IMO and nightshades treating mosaic virus and some of the other weirder diseases. That kind of makes me wonder how much that might possibly apply over to some of the other crops that we all grow, like cannabis. So again, I'm not claiming that it will cure mosaic virus in cannabis, but works in nightshades. So let's try it. Someone report back.
Yeah, it seems like the diversity is enough to keep all the paths and pathogens enough confused enough to where it's just not an ideal environment. There's just too much healthy stuff. There's mycelium mats blooming, and it's just too much diversity for all the pests.
I can tell you, I've used labs and liquid IMO to treat over 500 acres now in Oklahoma over the last 3 years for septoria, and we've had nothing but success except for one grow that was just too far infected. They called us too late, basically, when the plants were already fucked. But all the other grows, we managed to reverse all the septoria and cure it of the none detected in terms of new plant growth. So it certainly, in my opinion, is better than anything. There's no product you could buy at the hydro store or ag store that'll do that. Period.
Right.
Normally they tell you once you have septoria, everything is fucked. You're done. Good luck, kid.
Fields down and
yeah, exactly. Whereas we can reverse that, right? Like, so that's something that, like, to me is just comical that they're not paying attention to this kind of stuff, because especially when you talk about dollars per acre, like it's pennies on the dollar, compared to any other IPM treatment using KNF, right? Your labs and IMO cost nothing per acre. It's very, very cheap.
for sure.
It is, yeah.
And yeah, like you said, they just work wonders. So once you see the results of it, it's hard to go back.
I remember our first year when we started using it, we really had basically no diseases, and I think our quality and quantity doubled basically.
Yeah, it was tremendous results from previous years, and it was dramatic difference on the quality and just flavors and just all around.
With diseases.
Oh yeah, especially if you're doing any kind of outdoor scale, like you have to have that in order to make sure you don't have the fungal issues, because it does seem to have a huge impact on botrytis, fusarium, and septoria, which are the three main fungal diseases aside from powdery mildew that you deal with in an outdoor setting,
Right.
And nothing else is as cheap and as easy to apply on a regular basis as the liquid IMO or labs. So I can't preach it enough. What are some of the other things that have helped you with your soil building and your compost building? Any kind of tips or tricks you have for people building compost, because you seem very passionate about compost?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, exactly. Always wearing it. It's covered in compost right now. I was sifting some today, and yeah, it's just trying to scale up the compost. Just trying to just work with what you have available. Like, we have a lot of beautiful forested areas around here. Like each property out here is like either 40 or 80 acres, or so we have a lot of land to go through. So occasionally we'll come out and like maybe once a year or whatever, try to chip up as much material as we can, try to trim up the underleaves of the forest, do a little fire prevention, and yeah, just trying to get enough material to build some good compost. So with the higher carbon stuff, you want to leave it for a little bit longer, but yeah, it's all just about trying to build up the best materials that you could find around, and diversity is key. And the same with the microbes, it's the same with the soil. You want to have diverse plants, diverse inputs, and We throw in, like, say we weed whack the garden beds of the cover crops. We'll throw all the cover crops and just build up all the organic matter you can. If you're mowing the lawn, just throw in all the organic matter you can and just build it up. And we've been trying to scale up the worm bins
Yeah.
and yeah, just all that good soil building stuff.
Yes.
Tell us about your worm bins. What are you doing for your worm bins? What are you adding to help supplement beyond what you're putting in there? And then what advice do you have as far as maintaining them? Because sometimes it can be tricky.
For sure. For us, it was, I'm a pretty lazy worm farmer. I found an old bathtub, got it all set up, made sure there was a little bit of drainage in the bottom, and then just basically loaded up with a little bit of carbon just at the base, just to absorb all the juices and all the good stuff. And yeah, just basically all the food scraps and just any food scraps I could find, and just
Plywood lid.
yeah, just a little plywood lid, because sometimes once it got rained on too much and it kind of drowned them, but I drained the water out and dug it out, and there were still worm eggs in there, and they survived. But I think the worm bin's been going for like 2 or 3 years now, and now I just inoculate other worm bins with them. Just set up another tub and take out a 5-gallon bucket, inoculate it, and just try to keep them spreading and expanding.
That's great. So what do you add anything beyond? So what do you put in your worm beds? Maybe that's a great question for people that haven't ever worked with worm beds before.
We do a lot of like forest stuff, just like the leaf mulch, the leaf material, just stuff that's close around it and easy to throw in there. When I'm cleaning up the hugel beds, if I'm mowing down some weeds and stuff, I'll throw some of that in there. When it's rainy and I see a bunch of worms just kind of walking on the surface, I'll toss them in there too, and get the population a little bigger. But,
And then feed them scraps
yeah,
from the house.
just
Yeah.
any kind of food scraps you have, just like anything that don't want to throw away, don't want to throw it in the compost pile, just throw in the worm bin. And they're very not picky. Like anything a person would eat, like greasy burgers or just leftover fats or bones, and kind of throw it all in there. I'm not too picky. Like dead mice.
What are you guys puffing on today? You guys smoking anything today?
Well, let's see. What we puffed on last was
Glaciers?
yeah, some of the glaciers. Some of that no-till glaciers that we brought to the conference. If I could spark one up right now.
Tell us about that cultivar.
What's that?
Tell us about that cultivar.
Let's see. I believe we got that from Highline, clone cut from a nursery. It was jet fuel gelato and white Tahoe cookies. And yeah, it was just one of the stonier strains, a little bit of gassy, and one of the more flavorful ones we had. It was one of the stony potent ones. Made some good Frenchy style hash with it. It's seems to yield well. So
Actually have some. There was a fine, well, I won't say where he's from for his sake, but there was a fine gentleman at the Regenerative Conference, gave me some really nice Frenchy style hash. Some really nice Temple Ball hash. Very, very nice. And it's very, very tasty.
Frenchy hash, it's another world. I actually got to see him at the last conference before he passed, and it was just so awesome to see him and show him the stuff, and just, oh my gosh, he's just such a loving and kind person. Just nothing but love in that guy.
Oh yeah, he was amazing. I had the pleasure of taking one of his classes, and that was just amazeballs. If you never had the pleasure of taking one of Frenchie's classes, he used to have a full hash bar, and he would have like the same strain but prepared 2 or 3 different ways, and then like a couple of different versions of those. So it'd have like Moroccan hash and bubble hash and temple balls, and like, so you could try that all compared to, you know, how the hash making process affected the terpene expression and how it translated into a final product. And it allowed you to like quantify and understand what the hell you were doing on a level that you just don't normally ever get a chance to compare, you know, unless you happen to have all of those
Right.
different skills simultaneously as well, right? Like, so it was just a totally unique experience, and it really is a shame that he's since left this plane. But we had the pleasure of interviewing him, and one of the funny things, and I'll never forget this, I actually compiled all the minutes that he was on our show and edited it together, and I had no idea. Compiled it all together, put the intro and exit to plug his channel, and the intro came out to 4 hours and 20 minutes exactly.
Oh, man. If that's not a sign, I don't know what is.
I couldn't stop smiling about that for like a day.
Oh, he's the best. Best knowledge and just genuine, awesome person.
He was an amazing person for sure. And there aren't too many like him. I think the last person that I know that's even close to like that is Mila. Mila Jensen. She was on our show a couple of weeks ago, and I think she's one of the last people that is still with us that's experienced those old school hash making traditions before the Taliban and all these other people kind of changed the culture there, and it's kind of a lost art almost. There aren't many with us left. But there's so many awesome new people making hash now that is a whole new generation, which is super neat. And then also to see like how you have like dry sift and bubble hash and all these different versions of an old idea is kind of neat too. Being able to fully understand why certain hashes taste different and why they taste better and why harvesting a certain way was better and blah 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 blah. All the things.
For sure. Like you said, it's definitely interesting to see in the different comparisons. Be like, no, this is the dry sift hash compared to the rosin or compared to the flour. Yeah, it's really cool just seeing the subtle changes or sometimes not so subtle changes. You're like, whoa, wasn't expecting that on the back end. Or
you always have one or two people that smoke too much hash and they're just blacked out on the couch in the corner.
Oh, yeah, yeah, we have one of those.
Yes.
Call me Kai Guy.
We definitely do.
Yeah, everybody needs a guy on the couch,
Oh yeah, shout out to Kai.
So what is your preferred method of consumption for each of you?
I really like the extracts, but personally, I think my favorite is probably a joint, but maybe a joint with a little bit of rosin or a little bit of hash, but I like to mix it up. But I think joint is probably my favorite. Go through a couple a day.
I agree.
About for pest control, what advice do you have for people that are trying to get into the more organic side of pest control? Because that's often an area where people struggle.
Pest control. We do a lot of plant therapies. Let's see. What else do we do for pest control? We try to just do a lot of preventative stuff, like the LABs are really nice for taking down powder molds and other stuff, but just we try not to force to grow. We don't try to force them with a bunch of nutrients. Sometimes when you try to force the nitrogen on them, you get like a structurally weak plant that's just more inviting to pests. So we try not to speed it up too much, try to go at the plant space rather than how fast we want it to go. And just trying to keep the plant generally overall healthy. So like the compost teas, the IMOs, just getting the plant the immune system that it needs to help fight off all the pests naturally. But occasionally we'll need to do some natural oils or things along those lines, pure crop plant therapy, but we try to keep those as minimal as possible and not late into flower or anything. Try to have all the beneficial plants around for the trap plants, and trying to get more on planting the companion plants and all that good deal.
So what are some of the different challenges that you guys have had as far as working in the California market, which has been pretty difficult to operate in at some points in the last couple of years? Is it getting better? Is it getting worse? What's going on out there in terms of the scene on that side? I know it definitely is a lot of people that kind of are looking at it from the outside.
Tough right now. It's definitely tough right now. Failing market, and Humboldt has really, a lot of regulations, and so yeah, we're doing our best, and we're still here, and we're gonna grow again this year. We're just gonna focus on our quality and not quantity, and do all of our regenerative inputs and do the best we can.
All right,
Yeah.
and I saw that California's starting to look at possibly allowing interstate export. Obviously, there will be more to it than just California deciding, but at least the ball's rolling in the right direction to try and help fix some of those things, because the Emerald Triangle is certainly well known for being a place to grow high quality cannabis, and I certainly think it'll help small growers like yourselves pretty quickly once they start to open those types of things. At that, Jamaica, southern South Africa, and a handful of places, you can count them on one or two hands, the places that'll really benefit from this. But there are certainly places that I think that in the long term will be greatly benefited by these types of efforts. And then you guys are also very familiar with like the different regional things like the terroir movements and things like that. Can you describe that a little bit to people that are maybe unfamiliar with the concept, and how that helps people that are in more local communities brand around their local communities?
For sure. Well, you definitely want to support your local farms. Like that's the people who actually care about, like you said, like the terroir, the taste of the land, so to say. So yeah, the people that are practicing the regenerative practices, and all the small farmers, they're the ones who are growing the really best weeds. So like you said, once the states open up, like Humboldt already has such big branding, like everyone wants the craft local cannabis, the most regenerative, best tasting weed in the world. And that's where they want to get it from. They want to get it from the small mom and pops. They don't want to grow it from the Walmarts that are growing 1,000,000+ pounds of bullshit.
Yeah, just best farmers banding together and
working together as a
working
community
together,
and
growing the best weed we can. Some diversity of strains are accepted, not just OG anymore, and high quality is the only thing that basically matters right now at this point.
yeah, only good weed selling. So it's got to be the best, otherwise.
Is there anything that you guys add to boost terpenes or boost your other things to it, or is it just a matter of just spending a lot of TLC with the plants and focusing on all the different elements?
Definitely a lot of TLC and a lot of microbes. I feel like microbes, it's hard to underestimate the power of the microbes, and
That's the terpenes, yeah.
try not to overfeed it to where everything's bland and tasteless. And yeah, just really trying to work on building that soil, but it's a process. So just each year it gets a little better, and you learn more new tips and tricks, and just trying to expand off what you already know, and just try to keep building off the year before, and just try to work off your progress.
Is there anything that you guys have done as far as I know Humboldt definitely has some of the tightest water restrictions. What are some of the different ways that you guys have found on your property to maximize water usage and be able to kind of meet those goals? Because that can be very challenging for people that aren't used to growing in those types of conditions.
Yeah. Well, we have wells, and we also have a lot of water storage, rain catchment, water storage, and
Yeah, within the past couple of years, we've gotten over 80+ rain catchment storage tanks, and yeah, just trying to utilize
building the gutters.
the land. Try to utilize the water before it goes into the creeks and all that. We have gutters on our greenhouses to catch all the surface runoff, all of that, and we plumbed it up to where it all goes into the tanks. And
plus the tanks catch water and.
yes,
And we have wells.
yeah, we have wells to supplement, but but water is so crucial, and try to keep it on the land as long as possible. Try to slow it, sink it, store it, like permaculture, regenerative thinking, and try to keep it at the top and try to slow it down as much as possible.
Did you grow any other crops or do any type of agriculture that are aside from cannabis there on the farm to help diversify what you guys are doing, or are you just growing cannabis?
We have a couple fruit trees that have been on the property for maybe 30 plus years, and we do plant occasional veggies, just like plant some stuff on the hugel mound, some tomatoes and lemon cucumbers and potatoes and all the good stuff.
Yeah. And then we always have a nice big veggie garden every year as well.
And it's been getting better and better every year too. We've been trying to build that one up.
Where your freak show was in the veggie garden.
Exactly.
Which Steve tried,
Yeah.
And he's been building the dirt in the veggie garden for many years now. And as you can see from the freak show, that dirt is pretty amazing.
Yeah, adding all the soil from the chicken coops, and we clean out here and just throwing that onto the gardens. And
drip irrigation is another water saving water by the drip irrigations.
Yeah, no, it's definitely something that could be very challenging for those that haven't set up a facility quite like yours. It sounds like you guys really have it all figured out, which is super awesome. A lot of people struggle with that because I know in Humboldt you guys have really, was it one gallon or 1.5 gallons per day per plant or something like that? I don't remember what the restriction is, but it's not much.
Yeah, I'm not sure, something ridiculous.
But,
it's never all figured out.
What advice do you guys have for people that are just wanting to start off and maybe start off in a regenerative movement with their farm, getting into maybe a newer cannabis state or something like that?
Like we're saying, just start small and experiment and just keep practicing. It's all a learning experience, but it gets easier as it goes on. You just gotta just be passionate about it and just exactly just keep trying at it and we're also learning. I'm still a student and I've been at it for a little while, but it's me. There's always something new to learn. Just always trying to be humble and just try to get better.
A question, chat. Do you guys have llamas or alpacas?
No,
neither. Yeah, we want to scale up the animals, but right now we only just have a couple chickens for the garden, but nothing commercial or crazy. Just get a couple eggs every now and then. But yeah, for the manure aspect, it would be nice to have a couple more animals. Yeah. But trying to manage that with the time and the garden and actually running a cannabis farm.
We had a question in chat. Is there something? Animals. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. What was that?
Oh, I was just saying there's neighbors who have animals that we
can potentially get some manures from.
We had a question from chat. Is there something for IPM you should always have on hand, even if you have not experienced a really bad infestation yet?
Try to get it before it gets to that point. You want to just be checking is one of the easier things you could do, but the LABs are a good thing. Just as it's not going to harm anything, and it's good just to blast some stuff off with it. But that or some little bit of plant therapies. But yeah, just trying to get it before it's a huge problem. It's not bad when it's like 20 or 50 bugs, but once you're like, oh man, it's gonna wipe out everything. It's maybe catch it a little bit before that if you can. But like the bug lady suggests, like doing the sticky card traps to where you're doing weekly checkups, if anything, just trying to, the more active you could be and the more you're looking, the better. be proactive rather than reactive.
Yeah, it's definitely way to go. I'm also a big fan of Bavaria Bassiana and Isaria fumigeraceae, at least for
Sure.
bugs.
Yeah, we use a lot of the Bacillus thuringiensis and like the natural, and try to keep all the gnats and the flies down. And
Oh yeah, yeah. I know you have BTI, which is in your mosquito dunks and all the rest of the stuff, and then you have Isaria fumigeraceae, which is in one of your really common farm brand anti-fly sprays. So, oh yeah, good stuff. And nothing that's toxic, nothing that's going to hurt you at all, which is one of the most wonderful things about it.
Yeah, just don't breathe it.
Yeah. Give it an hour or two to dry out. Someone also mentioned Metarhizium. The problem with Metarhizium is they pulled most of the products for a minute off the market. I'm not sure why. I think it had to do with the manufacturing plant or something during COVID or some weird shit like that. But they're just starting to come back on the market now. But I think they're under different branding and stuff. So
Yeah, I've never heard of them.
yeah, Metarhizium is like the third fungal genus that is very good aside from Asaria and Bavaria. Killing insects. Yep. You can kind of use those three in conjunction, alternating. So, exterminate, damn it, or anything with 6 legs at least. 8 legs, it's a different story. 6 legs. If one of those 3 doesn't kill it, man, you better call somebody at the government agricultural agency or something and lock the place down.
Bust out the Agent Orange.
Yeah, get the flamethrower out. Just nuke it from orbit.
More compost.
Yeah. No, we actually had really Chris Trump and I both are big supporters of the IPMO, which is IMO, but taking 1/3 of the rice, replacing it with insect frass or target insect corpses. So you can collect some of the corpses of what you're targeting and mix it with insect frass, and then mix that with the rice, cook it down the same way you would, and then use that for IMO collections. You're collecting local microbes that feed on the exoskeletons of the insects, the same way that you would collect soil microbes, right?
Right.
You infuse it with the rice with those extra carbohydrates to help propagate it faster, right? So you're kind of creating.
I've heard you mention that. I've never tried that out. That's super interesting.
Yeah, so it's something that I think is to me one of the coolest breakthroughs in pest control that I've seen in a long time, because like I want to, and especially when I was over in Africa, like I would love someone to try this against locusts. I really think it would be an interesting experiment to try. Like go back behind the locust swarms where they've already died off en masse from the previous generation and collect those corpses and use that for the IMO and get ahead of the swarm and then release the fungi that are feeding on the last generation and see if you can stop them that way. I think you at least have a good. I think you at least have a good chance of having a good effect on it. Certainly, we're not going to make anything worse.
For sure. No, it's interesting you mentioned the insect frass. We use that with the compost teas and with the IMOs, and it seems like when we top dress with that, it just gives the plant such health and vigor. It's astonishing.
Oh yeah, and you're releasing that chitinase as it breaks down the chitin that's in those exoskeletons. So you're kind of getting 2 birds, 1 stone with that kind of application. Yeah. It triggers that plant response, because when the plant detects that fungi producing the chitinase and the exudates producing the chitinase, it thinks that there's insects around that's being under attack by mites or something else, so it starts to produce more terpenes, right? So it's boosting the plant in that regard as well. So it's better disease resistance and better testing at COAs. Sorry about the dog drinking in the background. I don't know.
We had one just doing the same thing. Yeah. I thought that was us.
Oh, we have 4, so.
Oh, 4.
It's a bit of a parade sometimes. Well, is there anything else you guys want to tell people about growing in California, or people getting started otherwise, aside from the technicals in this kind of venture?
I think we touched on everything we wanted to touch on, but thank you for having us and super appreciate it. Yeah, check us out. She's Hidden Prairie Farms and AZGreenDesert on Instagram. And oh, just thanks for having us. Super appreciate it. It's been awesome. Love to do this again sometime. And yeah, just keep growing.
Thank you so much for having us, Steve. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, I really appreciate you, and I'll make sure we get your links there in the description as well. Yeah, thanks a lot for coming on. It was really fun having you on. I'm definitely looking forward to growing your freak show this year and a couple of the other beans that I was lucky enough to get at the Regen conference, and really appreciate you guys taking the time to come on and sharing with us your different methodologies and thoughts on growing.
Awesome.
Really
Yeah, let me
appreciate
know how
having
they go. That's super awesome.
Yeah.
So let everybody, how do people find you guys again?
Let's see. I am AZGreenDesert on Instagram, and she's Hidden Prairie Farms. And yeah.
One second, I'm pulling up your stuff here. There we go. AZGreenDesert. Got all kinds of great stuff up there. This is his wonderful freak show. Tasted really good.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It smells like pineapples or berries, and just an amazing plant. Just super awesome to have, and just cool thing to be in the arsenal and to play with over the years. Excited to make more crosses with it and just to play with it and see how it goes.
Yeah.
I definitely have a winner, man. The one that you have is just super, super fire.
Yeah, originally it came from we only had like 20 seeds, and I gave a few away, and I only had one female, and it smelled really pineapple-y, and I had 3 males. Of course, the males were on irrigation, and the female was not irrigated and just a super tiny plant, but decided to pollinate it with the earliest male on the hugel, and it just super dominated the pineapple terps in it. So all the other the generation after it, which is this generation, is all pretty uniform, all very pineapple-y, and just seemed to be pretty consistent just from the lack of selection or the lack of diversity in plants to choose from. Yeah, a little wood burning of Frenchie I did, a little hash ball in his hand. But yeah, super amazing stuff.
Wonderful. And what was the other Instagram?
Hidden Prairie Farms.
Yes.
There it is.
There it is. Yeah.
We also have a website, hiddenprairiefarms.com too. You can check out.
Oh,
But the Instagram is probably a little.
Yeah, let's do the Instagram. Yeah.
yeah, some
Oh yeah,
wonderful garden pictures there.
yeah. Got the LEDs, got the soil.
Love your morels. Is that in your garden?
That was at a neighbor's farm, actually, just right down the road from us. It was actually around this time. We might have to go check his yard and make sure see if there's any popping up.
Yeah.
But yeah, right in his garden beds.
That's crazy. Some beautiful buds though.
Those crosses. Oh, yes.
Wonderful soil. Look at that. That's what your soil should look like.
Yes.
All those wonderful mycorrhizal fungi or hyphae.
Yes, chunky mycelium mats is what we're shooting for. It's getting chunkier all the time.
Beautiful buds. For sure.
Thank you.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. Oh, you have an Atlas moth. Your atlases, yeah? Correct me if I'm wrong.
Redwood moths, we know them as.
Oh, yeah, the redwood
moths, yeah.
They're beautiful. That's a male with the antennae like that.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so the
they're
males
actually
have-
at
Go
this
ahead.
time every year they come out.
Yeah, we've been seeing a lot of them lately around this time.
the males have the fancier headgear because those are like their sensors for
Okay.
finding the ladies. So they
Okay,
Gotcha.
that's good to know.
and then the males have the sensors to find the perfume, right?
Okay, yeah.
So you can always sex the moths.
Oh, that's
Very cool.
good to know. Thank you.
Yeah. Same thing with the Luna moths. I actually have to go out to Georgia here in a week and a half, and they have Luna moths out there. It's the same kind of deal. The girl, they look very similar, but the guys have the better headgear, and the women have a little bit bigger bodies. That's a beautiful moth. So such a
There's
wonderful.
another one.
That's how you know that you have a wonderful organic farm. You know, you're not spraying things that would kill that type of wildlife. You know.
Right.
Oh yeah, diversity is key. We want as much stuff as around as possible. Even a little bit of bad stuff is fine too. That's how you know you have food for the good stuff.
Right.
Right. As long as it's not too much.
Yeah, exactly. There's limits.
Beautiful purple bud there.
Absolutely. I think that was some of our blue bat.
That was
blue,
our black and blue. Yeah, blue black.
blueberry, blackberry kush. It was kind of one of our staple crops when I first started working.
Do you have any tips or tricks for people trying to get a little extra color out of their plants? I know we often talk about molybdenum dosing, but do you have anything that you found really helps a lot?
Sometimes the colder temps definitely help, but a lot of it is in the genetics. You can't have a purple plant that doesn't want to be purple, but yes, you have to pray.
Well, thank you so much for joining us this evening. I definitely look forward to having you guys on the show again, and then seeing you guys again in Humboldt.
Oh, absolutely.
Yes.
You're welcome over anytime. And yeah, thanks
please.
for having us again. Much
Yeah.
appreciated.
Really
Can't
appreciate
wait to see you
having
guys
us.
again.
Yes.
Appreciate
Definitely
it.
can't wait to see you soon.
And for those of you watching, we'll be out in Maine, or I'll be out in Maine at least here. Let me throw that up as well. One last time before we wrap up the show. You can find it at regenerativeorganiccannabis.com. We'll take you to the link. Just click Maine on there. And then you can get tickets. We also have day tickets at the door. So if you can't make it the whole time, you can definitely get tickets at the door. But we have a big seed swap on Sunday, a huge long list of regenerative organic cannabis educators. And then you can find out Marty and I's website over apmjclass.com, a wonderful in-depth online class for aquaponic cannabis. If you guys are looking for more long format on classes on that. And so Thursday, we will not have a show. I'll be actually flying during the normal show time. We will have a kind of a short live stream as long as I have internet connection on the way up. We're going to have some cool guests in the car, whoever's down at the airport. We're going to do a little bit of a live stream. So it'll be a late episode, but it won't be a normal episode. And then we won't have a Monday episode after that. Again, I'm going to be flying. But that Thursday, we're going to have a cool episode with Dirtman Dan and the cannabis professor. Sorry, it took me a minute to remember. I know his real name. It took me a minute. It was the cannabis professor and Dirtman Dan. Be sure to follow us. And we're also going to do a meetup. So either Wednesday or Friday, we're going to see what works better for everybody. We're going to have a meetup in Philadelphia. So if you're in the Philadelphia area, New Jersey, come hang out. I'll bring a bunch of seeds. We'll have a good little jam session and probably a smoke session, wink, wink. We'll have a good time and with a bunch of cool people from the scene out there. We're definitely be out there on the East Coast filming some different grows as well in New Jersey and Philadelphia. I actually got access to some places. We're going to see how that goes as far as filming. And then we'll have a good time. And then in Georgia, the week after, I'll be out in Georgia. We'll have a bunch of new footage out at that big facility I've been working on for the last couple of weeks. And then we'll come back and we'll have a whole new facility in Oklahoma to show you guys. So we have a lot of content for you guys in the next month. Just be patient with me. We might not have all the episodes on normal days, but we will have a ton of content for you guys in the next month or so, with a lot of large facilities, which is going to be fun. So, and also some East Coast states, which people very rarely get to see, which is going to be fun. Well, thanks a lot, everybody, for watching. One last time, how do people find you guys on Instagram? My internet die? Or did their internet die? Well, one of our internets died. You can find them at Hidden Prairie Farms and at one second here. Hidden Prairie Farms.
AZGreenDesert on Instagram and Hidden Prairie Farms.
Yes.
Hidden Prairie Farms.
Sorry about that. I'm not sure which one of us lagged, but one of us did.
It was
Oh.
probably us.
And then you can find me at Ponics, Instagram, SoundCloud, YouTube, all the things. I love all you guys. Thanks again. If you haven't watched us, last week was our 6th-year episode. Thank you, all of you, for helping us build this amazing community over the years. We have an incredible amount of knowledgeable guests over the years and helped expose the community to a ton of cool new ideas. I've had a lot of you guys reach out over the weekend and kind of express that as well. So thank you all that have supported the show all this time. Thank you for all your well wishes over the weekend, and we'll catch you guys again at some point in the next 5 to 7 days. We'll have some kind of stream. Cheers, everybody, and everyone else. I'll see you up in Maine this weekend.